and very good evening to all the viewers. Thank you so much for spending your precious time for my presentation with the topic of halal and non-halal ingredients in consumer products. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Brother Muhammad and Puan Rosie, for giving me this opportunity to present in the second virtual International Halal Conference. Okay, I am Shamsiah binti Aziz, Senior Assistant Director in Ministry of Health Malaysia, and I am former auditor in Halal Hub Division of JAKIM, which is specializations in audits for pharmaceuticals and cosmetic as well as food. And I'm also part of the members in developing Malaysian standards of medical device. And currently, I am as a panel halal approval certification for Islamic State Religious Department of Negeri Sembilan Malaysia, and also certified HACCP and GMP auditor by MH Malaysia. So I think this is a very common verse. So I'd like to share the common verse which related with what we consume. This verse grants permission to eat lawful, which is halal, and good, which is safe. And it is closely related to halalan thayyiban concept, and to avoid, which is prohibited. So from Abdullah Nu'man bin Bashir radiallahu anhu said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam bersabda, halal is clear and haram is clear. So between these two are certain things that are shubha. So most of the ingredients basically falls under shubha, because what is haram is clear, what is halal is clear. So we will try to share throughout the presentations on the understandings of halal and non-halal ingredients. So of course, when we do the halal and non-halal ingredients, we have some issues and challenge. For example, like cross-contamination. As we know, it will occur when halal products has a direct contact with non-halal item. This is due to during handling of the process, and thus affects the halal status of the product. On top of that, evaluating material thoroughly, which is or in detail, the key points to avoid the cross-contamination challenge with ensuring all the item used in the productions are halal. Next is ingredients, whereby this is very common and very important key in evaluating the ingredients to proceed with any halal certifications. As we know, the ingredients might be halal and might be haram, and of course, it might be false under shubha. So the wide ingredients used in food products, pharmaceutical, cosmetics, and other medical device products also must be evaluated thoroughly based on technical and Sharia concept. So what we need to know, we need to understand so well how the process of the ingredients being made, so that we can evaluating the ingredients and we can state the status the ingredients clearly. And the third issue is basically on the science and technology. We understand that the technology of the rapid movements and the fast movement in science and technology, the things that we need to catch up. For example, like we clearly know that there is an alcohol with 0% alcohol, whereby it involves the distillation process. When it removes the alcohol, so they sell the alcohol, the drinks or the soft drinks as halal. But then again, we need to bear in mind the process throughout to produce the 0% alcohol basically is still the same as to process the alcoholic beverage, which is stated as haram. Next is the synchronizations during, we understand that we have a lot of mazhabs, we heard a lot of from many countries with many points of view. So that's the reason there is a standards to set up for us to synchronize the information, to synchronize the halal status, halal standards, so that it caters all Muslims in the world. So, but again, who is the champion right now? So we don't know who is the champion, but that is not important. The important part is we serve this for the purpose of halal, for the purpose of ummah, and we need to ensure that the standard set up is catered to all Muslim and non-Muslim, so that they can have better lifestyles for halal products. And of course, the last but not least, the challenge is how the industries to set up their halal assurance systems to make sure that everything's from the farms to the consumer products, it must be comply with the any halal regulations and standards. So they need to set up clearly the halal assurance system so that the concepts of halal built-in is there and the um, concept of halal built-in is implements wisely. Next, I would like to share on halal products and services based on definition of halal order 2019. We know that Allah is most gracious. Too much food, even almost all types of foods are halal and can be consumed. Conversely, too few types of prohibited foods that should not be consumed. So based on the TDE definition of halal, we must ensure that all halal products does not contain any parts or products of animal that are non-halal to Muslim or products of animal which are not slaughtered according to Sharia law. So we know that carcass, blood, and swine are strictly forbidden by Allah. Furthermore, all the animals that die do not go through the process of halal slaughtering is equivalent to the carcass, which is haram. So next is thus the product does not contain any ingredients that are not according to Sharia law, such as blood, vomit, pus, and etc. And of course, must be safe and non-intoxicating and not harmful to health. For example, like fish, which is living whether living in fresh water or seawater, all halal, even without slaughter. But then again, it must be safe and intoxicants to health. Same as goes to plants also. Next, we need to ensure that the products is not prepared or processed or manufactured using equipment that is contaminated with the things that are not according to Sharia law and fatwa, and against the food or its ingredients do not contain any human parts or its derivative, for example, like blood. And last but not least, the definitions means of polluted area can be through mixings with halal and non-halal during the processing, and might be because there are no separate places and equipment used to process non-halal material. So we need to ensure that all the preparation, processing, packaging, storage, or transportation must be physically separated from any other haram material. So these are the concepts that the food chain production chain, where we need to ensure from the farm itself, we already taking care on the halal status up to the consumers, up to the home base or restaurant consumer, to ensure that everything's entire process during the production, processing, distributions, retailing, home preparations or restaurant consumers is halal. Okay, here I like to share the critical factors that we need to define when we are evaluating the halal and non-halal ingredients, whereby first we need to know the source of the raw materials, whereby we understand that raw material might be from halal or non-halal ingredients. So we need to evaluate whether it is critical or non-critical. For example, like from animal waste, that's definitely is critical, but from plant-based, it might be non-critical, but then we have to go through how the process of the plant has been done, the products of the plant, because we need to ensure that throughout the process, for example, like we want to produce the extraction, so it might be used any processing aids or equipments during the extraction process. So that's the reason next we need to focus on the equipment, whereby all the equipment used in the production line must be halal. For example, like it's not supposed to have any brush from animal base. We understand that brush from animal base are not allowed. What we can allow is only synthetic. So we need to ensure that all the food contact surfaces, the table, all the items that we are using must be from halal ingredients. Same as well as processing aids. We understand that there is a certain processing aids where might be presence in the final product, and some processing aid might be lost during the processing of the product. So certain processing aids, for example, like extraction process, they might be using alcohol during the extraction process, so that the alcohol, we need to ensure that it is from industrial base and is from halal materials. So here I categorize the sort of ingredients from certain categories, such as like plants, animals, which is land or aquatic, from microorganisms, from bacteria, fungi, and viruses, and some natural chemicals, which is from alcohol derived by natural fermentations, and flavors and colors. This is very compound flavors and colors is very important right now, and certain ingredients also from synthesized materials. We also have minerals, and last but not least, the genetic modified organism. So all this material must ensure it is halal and is derived maybe from synthetic or natural, and of course, nuts are prohibited. So from animal derivatives, I recategorize on certain groups such as fats and oil, proteins and amino acid, gelatin and collagen, and dairy. Okay, these are fats and oil groups. So we know that the functions of fats and oils basically as a medium for heat transfer and as a flow agents in physical properties to food. Currently, they have also as a quality involved as a moisture barrier and also as carrier of oil-soluble vitamin, same as well as bulk supply of energy. So these are examples of source of fats and oil from plant or fruit oils. We can have from oil palm, very common. We can have some from olive and certain oil from coconut. Next, we also have from plant or seed oil, for example, like sunflower, cottonseed, and soybean, which is mainly used in Europe countries. And also very critical and important ingredients and widely used in foods, pharmaceuticals, and medical device, as well as cosmetic products from animal, adipose tissues, and butter oil from might be from cow, from cod oil, cod beef, and from whale. So next is the group of proteins and amino acid. Why the proteins and acid amino used as ingredients? As we know, protein and acid amino is a nutrient supplement for humans. So might be used as a processing aids and also as a functional ingredients to impact specific characteristic. Okay, for right now, we have a lot of functional ingredients such as whey powder to build up the muscles and etc. So it might be derived from proteins and amino acids. So I give you some examples like amino acid from L-cysteine, very common use in bakery products, in food products. So L-cysteine might be derived from animal, which is from duck feathers, or hairs from humans, and some of them from plants, and some of them also from microbial fermentation. Same goes to collagen. It might be derived from pig, cows, and fish skins, and widely used in the applications of beverages, supplements, and cosmetic, medical device of wound dressing. The most important product right now, the most important ingredients is gelatin, which might be derived from pigs, cows, fish, or poultry, and widely used in cosmetic as well as pharmaceuticals and food. So we know that the gelatin usually derived from bones, skins, and organs. So to have halal gelatin right now, we have a lot of manufacturer produce halal gelatin, but still the non-halal gelatin is still here, is still there. So we need to ensure the gelatin once we use gelatin when we use gelatin in the product, we need to ensure a certain criteria. For example, like first, where is the slaughtering house of the cows, of the poultries, to before produce gelatin, and we need to ensure also there is certification, recognized certification bodies who's already certified the manufacturer of gelatin, so that it can be used in your products of foods, pharmaceuticals, or others categories. Next is rennet, which is widely used in cheese making, and it might be from animal or from microbial. Okay, we go for gelatin, which is basically a soluble protein compound, which is obtained by partial hydrolysis of collagen derived from animal skin, connective tissues, and bones. And again, the main source is pig skin, cattle bones, and cattle hides. So the best overall commercial quality of gelatin is because of the bloom strength and thermal stability. But somehow, the gelatin is very good, which is stable in dry condition and degraded when moist, easily digested and absorbed, and of course is tasteless and odorless. So we also have a lot of alternative sources right now for collagen and gelatin, such as from skin or removable scales from bones of fish. And the function might be used as a microencapsulation process for vitamin, flavor, and active ingredients. And certain of them, they also clarify the fruit juices such as apple juice, and they control the viscosity in the cosmetic industries, or might be used in the healing burns for cosmetic, and also wrinkles and signs of aging in cosmetic industries. So here is kind of how the gelatin being used as a coating agent in food product or powder. Okay, basically we really know that gelatin might be used in bakery products, in desserts, in certain finished products. But then there is a gelatin be used as a coating agent. For example, like they coat the vitamins to ensure that the vitamins is stable during the process. So we might see the vitamins, but we can't see the gelatins which is coating the vitamins. When we have the vitamins as an ingredients, we need to check is it the vitamins being is it the vitamin is being coated by the gelatin? So we need to know where is the gelatin comes from. Next is dairy products, which is mainly in cheese and whey proteins are produced from milk, and rennet is being used in the production of cheese as a collagen coagulant agents, and of course source of rennet mostly and widely from young mammal stomachs. So here is a very simple process of dairy products, whereby we might have the milk transferred from farm, and we pasteurize the milk. To coagulate the milk, we will put the starter culture or rennet. And here we need to ensure where the starter culture come from and where does the rennet come from. So after the involvement of rennet or starter culture, the milk will coagulate and curd, and of course they have byproduct which is we call as whey, and whey mainly used in proteins products. We have whey protein right now. Some of them also use casein, that is all as a byproduct of dairy products. And last but not least, we have the cheese, which is very widely used. Okay, so here I also I would like to share that rennet we have four major types. Rennet is an enzyme used to coagulate milk for cheese productions, and the widely used rennet is basically calf rennet, 5% of domestic European cheese today. And of course, we have microbial rennet, which is the name of the microbial is Mucor mihi, and certain of rennets is by fermentations of chymosin or rennet, where the 90% of the cheese in the US might be from might be using chymosin or renin, whereby it's produced through fermentation process using the genetically modified microorganism to produce bovine chymosin, it is calf genetic material, and last but not least, the vegetable coagulants. But vegetable coagulants is seldom used in the market, basically. Next is gum. We know that the most gums being used in the food process or other products is xanthan gum. We need to know that xanthan gums is derived from bacteria of Xanthomonas, and that's the reason they are from microbial fermentations and will grow in the media which contains complex mixture of ingredients, and the microorganism will raising efficiently. So here I would like also to share on fermentation process. So we can see here fermentation process might be goes to lactic acid fermentation or alcohol fermentation, whereby it's a breakdown of carbohydrates or glucose through pyruvic acid, and in anaerobic bacteria, it will make a lactic acid fermentation, and if we added yeast, it goes to alcohol fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation, we can have aspergillus or lactobacillus. As we know, aspergillus, basically widely we can found in the soy sauce production, and lactobacillus we widely found in cheese or yogurt production. While for alcohol fermentation, they will derive Saccharomyces to produce the ethanol with carbon dioxide to produce beer or wine, and also they can also have carbon dioxide only, might be used in the bread production making. Okay, here I would like to share on the fermentation agent. When we talk about fermentation, it must be have a fermentation agent. The so-called popular fermentation agents is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is widely used in alcoholic beverage industry and is a yeast or fungus type. The next one is lactobacillus. On top of that, we also have lactobacillus, which is the fermentations byproducts such as like lactic acid, flavor compounds, and sometimes carbon dioxide and alcohol. In fermentation also, we have three techniques. First is the solid substrate. Second is semi-solid substrate. And the last one is liquid substrate. For the solid substrate, basically we have microorganism cultivate on the surface of a solid substrate, which is complicated and rarely used in industry. In Malaysia, we have a food, or we call as from the soybean, or we call as tempeh. So basically, this tempeh is quite very popular food in Malaysia. So it's a category of solid substrate fermentation, and also such as bread also as a solid substrate fermentation. And so we have semi-solid substrate, which is the microorganism will cultivate on the surface of a semi-solid substrate, and it might be from used to produce the dessert in Malaysia, we call as tapai, or it made from the glutinous rice. And last but not least, widely used is liquid substrate, basically to derive wine, beer, and alcoholic beverages, and the microorganism will grow in a liquid medium. So here I'd like to share, this is our National Fatwa Council for alcohol. It's clearly stated that all liquor, every liquor or alcohol, but not all alcohol is liquor, alcohol obtained from processed alcoholic beverage is haram and naj, and alcohol obtained from not liquor production is not haram, but cannot be consumed because it's in the original form is already poison, such as like methanol. We can't consume methanol. If we consume, we can have any food poisoning issues. Okay, methanol issues again. And the third one is drinks produced not with the intention to make liquor and have alcohol level below 1%, is harus and can be consumed. So this one we need to ensure that the soft drinks produced is not same as is not have intention to produce as a alcoholic beverages. And for medicines and fragrance, cosmetics industries, there is no limitations of alcohol if the alcohol is used as a solvent, and it must be obtained from industrial alcohol industries. Okay, here is the classifications of alcohol. We have green alcohol, and of course, right now we have synthetic alcohol. Green alcohol, we understand that it might be from sugar fermentation or wheat fermentation, and it will produce alcohol beverage industry or industrial alcohol, which is ethanol, food grade. And we also have synthetic alcohol, which is derived from coal, gas, or oil, but this one is not a food grade, so it's not being used in the food products, food production. Okay, by the process of the alcohol from the alcohol industry, basically we have a lot of byproducts during the process. We can have cream of tartar, tartaric acid, and malic acid, which is we know that tartaric acid we can have cream of tartar, and certain wine production we can also have balsamic vinegar throughout the process. Okay. The last group is genetic modified organism. So we know that GM foods, also known as genetically engineered foods, produced from organisms that have had changes introduced into their DNA using the method of genetic engineering. So how common we have genetic engineered food? We know that from corn, it might be from soy. This corn and soy is very common GMO food. So what we need to know, we need to ensure that the microorganism, the genetic or DNA used, must be from halal animals. If they, for example, like tomato, if they want to plant the tomato to make it resistant in certain temperature, so they are using DNA from pig or from swine. So definitely the tomato, which is plant, is halal, become non-halal because of the genetically engineered from the DNA of non-halal from non-halal animals. So in Malaysia, basically we have this Malaysia Biosafety Clearinghouse, whereby it's already 29 event, we call as event, the DNA has been approved by our regulatories of environments ministry, which is for soybean, corn, maize, cotton, and oilseed rape, whereby we already know that this event, which is we call as DNA, already certified and can be used to produce the GMO food, but then we need to look back whether it is halal from halal materials or non-halal materials. So this one basically to share with all of you that Malaysia have these departments of biosafety in order to ensure that the gene being used is safe for human consumption, but then as a halal practitioners, we need to look back whether the gene is halal or non-halal. Okay, that's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. Are there any questions from attendees? If there are no questions, then inshallah we can end the session.